Hello everyone. So in this episode of the menu system series, we are going to work on audio options. Now here you can see all kinds of sound classes available. And here if I set this overall to 0, you see the background music that I had, we don't hear it anymore. And if I increase it, we can hear that. So our system is working. And also, even though this app overall is applied to all sound classes, the music that you hear belongs to the music sound class. So I can change just that using this music slider as well, keeping other sounds available. So right now I don't have assigned any other sounds in the project for voice or menu, but they are also working in the same way. So here we are going to set up all the sound classes, sound mixers, and create a data table so you can dynamically add these sliders. These sliders are not added in the editor, it's just dynamically populated based on the data table data. And also the functions that binds into them and listen to these slider changes, we are going to create them as well. So yeah, that's what we are going to work on today. And before we get started, let me remind you that you can download the project files of this project and all of the thousands of projects I have done in my channel from my Patreon page. Once you become a member, you will be able to access everything without any limits. So to the date, there are over 2000 videos. For each video, project files are available. And also here is the full playlist of this series. Everything is implemented and explained from scratch. Feel free to check it out. I'll leave the link in description below. And now let's get back to today's tutorial. Okay, so we have already worked on the graphics options. We can apply, reset, and everything is working here. Now the next thing I am planning to work on is this audio options. So right now, as you can see here, nothing is there under audio options. So yeah, let's get into that. So the first thing I want to work on is volume sliders. So usually volume sliders, we will have multiple categories: master volume and effects volume, speech volume, things like that. So to have such a setup, we would need to have we need to define audio classes first. So here under blueprints, here I'll create a new folder called audio, and then under here, where is audio and classes and sound class. So sound class, I'll use SCL prefix, because sound class, first thing I would need is master. And for each sound class, we would need what do you call this sound class mix. I'll call it SMX master. Okay, now let me duplicate this. I need to have music class as well. It's also music, and then duplicate again. Other one would be effects, just regular sound effects, could be ambient effects or shooting sounds, whatever effects. And another one for voice. Let me duplicate this again. Voice. All right, now if I open the master sound class, here we can define child classes. And music. Oh, this is not from my project. The music SCL music and SCL effects, SCL voice. Anything else? That's all I have here. Maybe I need another class for menu. So you can have any amount of classes you need, because I'm gonna set up the options menu, audio options menu, in a dynamic manner. So you will have a data table which you can put any amount of sound classes, so it will populate and dynamically add the amount of sound sliders you would need. So here, menu. So here you can see everything is there now. And for each of the class, you need to define the sound mix. SMX master. Is it twice there? For this music, SMX music. It's menu. Voice. Effects. Okay. Okay. Now let me close this. I'll define back in the blueprints. I'll add a structure for volume configs. So we can define a data table that contains all the volume sounds related data. So S sound configs. Okay. Now I would need the first variable. This one should be sound class. Is it a class? No, not really. It's an object reference. Sound class object reference. So let's call it sound class, and then sound mix, because when you apply volume changes, we need the sound mix as well. And default volume can be a float, and what else? Sound class name, in case you need a custom name. So this could be a text. Okay, now as for the default values, here I'll add SCL master and sound mix SMX master. Default volume I'll set to 1, and this sound class name. Okay, now we have this data structure. Using this, let's create a data table. Data table, I'll choose sound configs as the row structure. dt sound configs. All right, now let's add. First one is already there. I don't need to add, but I'll set the name master. We could either call master or overall. So I think overall is good. I'll use the same name here as well, so it's clear, but it programmatically it wouldn't matter. This one, where is the next one? I'll put menu even though I'll put music even though menu is the next thing. Because music is important. Sick. Then I'll put voice. Voice and voice. Then finally menu. 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 Alright, now we have the data table. Now let me go to the UI widget. So did I already create a sub widget for audio options? I didn't. Okay, that's fine. So let's create a new one using this options panel. In the option panel, we only have this, nothing else. So let's create a child. User interface, widget blueprint, and I'll choose option panel as the parent. Let's call it WBP audio options. Here, let's go to the graph. Panel name, I'll set to audio. Should come up here. Yeah. Okay. Now, do I already have an initialize function? Yeah, initialize options. We already have that. Okay, here I want to create volume sliders using this data in the data table. So under sub widgets, I think I already created the slider. Yeah, this one. So here, let me check initialize slider materials. That's not. We have this option name. Let's expose this on spawn and also the default value. Let's expose this to also on spawn. Okay, now right now here under this, okay, let's add a variable data table and I'll call it dt sound configs. Now as the default value, I'll assign the sound config data table that we created before. Get this and let's run a names get data table row names. Let's run a for each loop on that. Now using the name, we can get data table row. Now here we can break to sound settings. Here we can access the name, class and everything. So I'll create a widget and here I'll select this slider. WBP slider, on in player, get on in player. Option name, I'll put this some class name, and default volume, I'll put this as the default value. So then I'll add this. We should keep a reference to this because when we change values, we need a way to access them. Therefore, let's create a map. What should I call it? Volume sliders. It should be text, and then let's convert this into a, oh wait, why can't I change this into a map? Actually, this is a name, not a text. So name. So yeah, now map is available, and this type is WBP slider object reference. All right, now I'll add into this map. So the name is this name of the row. Can access it this way. And this is the widget. Not just that, we would need to add this to the here in the parent. I have this scroll box, options scroll box. So I'll add to that CB options as a child. CB options, add child, and the content is this. Yeah. All right. Now let's see how this looks. See, we already have this, but it is 50%. Why is that? So we need to trigger this part to update the text and everything. Let's collapse this into a function, and I'll call it update slider this value. Call it slider with the default value. Now let's see. Here in the audio options. Yeah, now we have the correct value. But if I go back and come back, see, this is duplicated, and also we don't have any padding here. So duplication happens because since we are calling this initialize on pre-construct, since as we are working in the editor, there is a chance that this will be called multiple times. So what we should do is this. Here we can get CB options, clear children, and also volume sliders, clear everything before we attempt to recreate. Okay. Now see, it's not duplicating. Okay. All right, what's next? Oh yeah, we need a padding. So here set padding. We can't set it directly. Cast this to a scroll box slot. This is a panel slot. Let's try this. And I'll promote this to a variable. Let's call it volume slider padding. And on the bottom set 10. Yeah, now we have a nice gap. Okay. So now we basically have something for our audio options, but obviously changing the values will not work yet. But first let's integrate this into our menu system, which is this VP settings audio. Okay, so can I replace this directly? Oh no, this is just the button. Audio options. Okay, this one. Can I replace this directly? No. Okay. What if I audio options select place? Yeah. Now we have the option. Let me try that. Yes. Okay. Compile. WPP audio options. Let me compile. Okay. And is everything all right? Okay, this is here now. Let's see. Settings, audio. Yeah, we have it. We can go back, of course. So sliders are changing. If I go back and come again, they are there, but they are not actually doing anything as of now. All right, now to implement actual changes for each of these audio sliders. All right, so let's add here. I am in this slider. I'll add a event dispatcher. Let's call it on value changed. We already have on value changed. What should I call it? Value changed. Just value changed. And I'll pass set an input type float. Let's call it value. And then here I'll call value changed and pass this value. This is something that we can bind or subscribe from this audio options. Now as I create audio options, that means here I'll before this stage bind to on value change. Wait, why can't I? Yeah, bind event to on value changed. Okay. Now here let's create an event and create a matching function. Volume slider value changed. Well, actually, even though I get the value, I don't get which volume slider changed the value. So I don't think I really have a use of this value. So, but what I can do is we can apply the values of all the volume sliders and apply it to the system. So what for that, here we can get values and also get keys. We might just need only the keys here actually. So for keys, we can run a for each loop, and then using this name we can get the data table row from this sound configs. Get data table row. This is the name, and from this, so now we can access the here reg s sound configs. We can access sound class and sound mix. So set sound mix class override, and here is the sound class, here is the sound mix, and the volume we can take it from our slider value. So here find, this is the name, and we need to get, do you have a function to get value? We have the default value, but we don't have a way to get the value. Let me check. Slider, yeah, we only have value. So let's add a function, get value, and it should return the value of the slider. Get value. Okay, and if I turn this into a PO function, we can directly use it here like this. Get value. We don't need to connect this line. Okay, now the value I'll insert like this. I think that's all I need to do to actually apply volume. Now, how do we test this? For that, we would need some actual sound. So let's import some audio clip. Here, I imported some example music file, and let me open this. I'll assign sound class SCL master, and that's all I think I want to do. I have to do. Now let me just drag and drop it here, and it will automatically play if I play the, okay, see, I have the sound now. Now all I need for testing, all I need to do is, oh, actually I set this to master. Let me set it to music. Now let's go to audio. It's not working yet. Oh, actually I forgot one thing. Yes, sound mix. There is another thing. Push sound mix modifier. Now let's test. Yeah, we can change it from overall as well. even though it's a music. Oh, now one thing is, so if I set it to 0 and turn it back, it's no longer there. So that is, I think that's a bug, but I couldn't find a proper solution for this. But I have a workaround. The workaround is here, clamp this to a very small value instead of 0. Left between, instead of 0, something like this. Now it is okay. See? That's there. Now if I keep overall 100 and reduce music, it is still applied to that because this is a music, this belongs to music sound class. So yeah, now in the same way, if I have sound files applied to this voice class or menu class, they would work. So the system is working, but it's not saving or loading as of now, and that is something I wish to cover in an upcoming episode. And also not just that, there are other sound related options such as enable subtitles and select subtitle language and select output device, enable 3D audio, all those things. So I will add options for those settings as well. So thanks for watching. As always, updated project files will be available for download here in the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments. See you in another episode. Goodbye.